Good morning. I'm Emelina Minero with The Human Experience, and we have Christin Mell with us. She is the executive producer of Nikki and Nora, which will be at the Dinah April 4th screening, and she also one of the co-founders of TelloFilms. So, Kristen, I was stalking you online,
Oh,
and,
excellent.
and I saw that you grew up in the South, and you said something along the line of growing up in the South, being gay wasn't on your radar. And I want to know, at what point did queer media become on your radar?
Um, you mean uh, like kind of understanding like gayness, or like literally like watching queer media?
Uh, or after just taking in queer media, like when did you start to notice that queer media existed?
Um, Gosh, probably. I mean, I realized I was gay before I really kind of figured out this whole queer media thing. So it was probably like after Ellen was the first time that I kind of got online and found this community that loved pop culture and lesbian projects as much as I did. And that was, gosh, probably 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And then 6 years ago, you created TelloFilms, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct.
So that's a pretty quick gap from kind of seeing that queer media exist to creating something as big as TelloFilms.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was always trying to find like gay films, or would try, that was right around the time South of Nowhere was coming out. And so I think like it all happened where I was searching for those things and kind of trying to find them. And then in the absence of finding something, really that spoke to me, was when I created Tello, or, co-founded Tello. So yeah, it was sort of like, let's fix this problem.
That's really, really cool.
Thank you.
And have you noticed any kind of progression or changes from those 6 years of queer media on the web or in general?
Oh man, I mean, like, think of like what YouTube and lesbian web series have done for our community. Like, it's amazing how, like, it used to be where you could have a conversation about something that was queer and it was over like that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you had like 5 or 6 shows, but now with web series, I mean, every time I turn around, I feel like there's a new one that I haven't heard about, that's out there. And so I think, our community has kind of picked up the camera and like started to write their stories, and I feel like they're popping everywhere, which is so exciting, which is amazing.
What do you think? What kind of impact this will have, and what impact does TelloFilms have in being able to tell stories specific to the lesbian and queer female community?
I think no matter how much we see gay marriage moving to different states, and no matter how much, kind of acceptance there is in kind of supporting our community, I think there will always be, people in small towns that are searching for a community that maybe won't be able to find it there, who can turn to an online community and find what speaks to them, and then be able to identify and say, I mean, gosh, to be at a place where it's like, I find this storytelling particularly compelling. This one I think is good, but it's not my experience. Like, to be able to have that vast media out there, people can find what speaks to them, and then be able to find a community around that piece as well. So it's like, we're creating these little communities where people can come together.
So I was looking through all of the web series on TelloFilms, and I watched a few of them. One of them, I Hate Tommy Finch.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that you wrote that one, I got super excited because that is one of my favorite web series, like,
Aww.
out of all of the web series that exist.
Thank you.
It just seemed very real, very raw, very like close to the human experience. And it had a lot of depth that a lot of shows or story arcs don't have in web series. And it's also cool the play aspect, you know, is done a little differently, and to see also the growth, just the relationship growth from, it was like 5 or 8 to like early 30s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I absolutely love that, and I wanted to know what inspired you to write and tell that story.
Yeah, you know, before I kind of answer that, I definitely want to give a shout out to the other people who wrote it as well, Jessica King and Julie Keck, who really just, all the things that you love about it, I think they put that in there. I did like the first 2 drafts and then kind of handed it to them, and they just really made it amazing. So I definitely want to give them a shout out. But so what happened was Shannon Lee Reeve, who's one of the actresses in it, found this play that she really liked that was kind of similar as a two-person play, 1 female, 1 male. And it was about their relationship growing up as children. And so it was different ages and different experiences. And we were considering seeing if we could put that on as a play and doing gender-blind casting and doing 2 females and how that made the nuances different. And then in talking with Shannon, we really realized that there are so many subtle things that you experience as a child when you are surrounded in such a like hetero environment that you don't realize, like, oh, when I did that, it was because I was gay, but I didn't know it yet. And that kind of experience happens to a lot of people in our community, but we don't even realize it. And so in thinking about it, I was like, you know what, let's really take a step back and look at this in a way of experiencing, navigating the world that is only straight images. And what's that like when you're growing up as a little gay child? And how do you navigate those things? And how do you come out? And how do you process, like, you know, you're jealous of your best friend's boyfriend. Like, why did I feel that way? And then you're like, oh, now I know why. And so that was really kind of the impetus. So it was kind of inspired by a play that we were looking at doing, and then realizing, like, gosh, there's a lot of other nuances that we bring to the table.
Does part of that connect to your personal experience of growing up in the South?
A little bit, yeah. And, you know, also like the scene, there's a scene where, you know, they're doing a sleepover and someone brings out a Playboy, you know, and they look at it. It's the Madonna one. That actually was pitched by Nicole Payson, one of our actresses, who was like something that I did when I was younger. And so I really sort of, I think, pulled a lot of examples from like my life and then other stories that I heard people tell. And then when we got with the actresses, they kind of added another dimension to it, too. And so... but yeah, like I actually have an Uncle Jeff, and at the time that I was writing that, he was living with my grandparents, his parents, and so, you know, different things like that were definitely taken from my life.
And how was that? How is it different to have a writing and directing role as opposed to a producing role, which you have in a lot of the other web series?
And about half of them I direct as well, and I just. The nice thing is we have such a collaborative production team that even if I'm not sort of like in the director wearing that hat, I'll still be able to give feedback to it. So I really love working with actors, and it's one of my most favorite things. You know, a lot of producing happens before you get to set. And so, you know, usually you can kind of flip. And so it's like if you've done a really good job producing, then your job should be done the minute it says, like, you know, you say action. And so that's why I love directing, because I can, you know, I'm able to kind of do both.
I was talking with Laura and Caitlin from #.
Yes.
And they were going on and on about you all, about TelloFilms, and about the environment that you guys created with making the film, and just saying how that's a rare environment to be a part of. So that's really cool that's on you guys, and that's what you create.
Yeah, you know, I think two things, like, number one, Nancy Lee Myatt, who did, like, South of Nowhere and Nikki Nora and Three-Way, really kind of creates that collaborative set environment. And I learned from her, like, you know, Cowgirl Up was one of the first web series that I co-produced for Tello with Nancy Lee. And so it was nice to sort of look and see, like, how she makes this really lovely set. And then working with Jessica King, who's the director and one of the DPs. We are just so collaborative, and I think that that's one of our core beliefs when we come to and when we come to production. So we're very, very intentional about being very very positive. Kind of like we have a no diva policy. We treat everyone in our set with the same amount of respect and kindness that everyone else deserves. And so I think I do think we have a really fun set, and we respect people's time. So I'm glad that they kind of recognize and appreciated that.
Yeah. And then Nikki and Nora, I read that you guys had like a larger budget, and you filmed outside of Chicago and New Orleans, and it was kind of a different experience than creating some of the other web series. How was that process creating Nikki and Nora?
Man, it was, it's the biggest budget we've had so far, by far. Mm-hmm. And we were working with, people who've been on network television. We have, Tess Harper is an Academy Award nominated actress, and she's won a SAG Award when she was in No Country for Old Men. So, I was just dealing with a level and a caliber of talent and professionalism that was amazing. And the great thing is that, again, because it was a Nancy Lee production, because they were Nancy Lee friends, they had the exact same attitude as anyone else. They were the most gracious, kind, wonderful people who were excited to be there. And it was nice to see that, no matter, how big they were or how much, how many credits they had to their name, they were just as kind. And that was pretty amazing.
And then the story behind how you guys created that show, the huge fan following that came with it, why do you think this story of Nikki Nora resonates with people so deeply?
I think two things. For some reason, I think lesbians love private investigator shows.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lesbians who love Castle. Rizzoli and Isles is huge. Special Victims Unit, the Law and Order stuff. So I think that genre naturally, and I think it's because there's usually, if there's a female character, she's a strong female character. Mm-hmm. And so I think our community really appreciates that and resonates with it. And then throw on top of it that you have these amazing actors, Liz and Christina, who have amazing chemistry and who, are out PIs and kind of have that sentimental, lovely side while they're solving crimes and being badasses. That's catnip for our community. They love that stuff.
And then so April 4th, you guys are going to be screening part of Nikki Nora at the Dinah. What part are you going to be screening?
So we're going to be screening part of episode 2 and 3.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we kind of combined them so that it made sense, so people understood the arc, and we included. We made sure to include some of our other cast members like Asha Davis and Janina Gavankar and Wallace Langham. And so we wanted to get, not just show an episode where it was Nikki and Nora heavy, but you could kind of see all the people who are in it.
Yeah, it's a really strong cast.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Every time I think about who's in it, I was like, I can't believe I did that. And I can't believe they listened to me and did what I said. And it was pretty amazing.
That's super, super cool.
Yeah.
And have you been to the Dinah before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this will be my third, I think, trip to the Dinah. We always, when OML did the lesbian, sorry, there's a fly.
Okay.
When OML did the Battle of the Lesbian web series, we always tried to bring cast down there for that. And so kind of tried to be involved as much as possible. So the fact that they're doing a film festival now is amazing. So we're super excited and very, very honored to be part of it.
And do you have any tips for first-timers going to the Dinah?
I don't know. Wear sunblock.
Uh-huh.
I think sometimes when you do day drinking by the pool, you might forget to put on the sunblock. So make sure that you apply often so that you don't burn up.
Uh-huh.
And just, the great thing I have found there is that it's true. People just talk to strangers. So, make sure you have a buddy with you and that, you have someone who knows where you are. But, like, there's some really great, lovely people there who you will meet, like, at the pool party or at social things. My other piece of advice is definitely get tickets to the film festival because that's going to be amazing. But there's just like lesbians everywhere you look, and it's nice to be in that kind of like environment. So I would just say soak it up and have fun.
And what's the one thing that you're most looking forward to about the film festival?
I get to see people who I have worked with before that I haven't seen. So, Liz Vassy is going to be there. I believe Asha Davis is going to be coming. Marnie Alton's going to be there. Caitlin and Laura, Tracy Ryerson, Rolla Matthews, Ilea Matthews, Rolla Selbach. So, I just love these people, and they're just so fun and so fantastic. And so to be able to see them and catch up and spend time with them and really celebrate the work that they've done is just awesome. And so I think that's what I'm most looking forward to, seeing people who I've worked with.
That's going to be awesome, like a nice reunion.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be weird. It's going to be like worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. It's like these little pieces of Tello that are sort of like all coming together. So that's kind of fun.
So how could people watch all the shows on TelloFilms?
Yeah, you can. So we are able to create this amazing content and support other lesbian filmmakers because we do charge. So it's $4.99 a month, and which is a great deal because we have 13 series and 3 of them have a season 2. And because people subscribe, we're able to make more content. We're able to give back our part of our subscription fees to the filmmakers, and so people can go and log in or sign up and pay the $4.99 and continue to watch and rewatch and enjoy and see all of our great series.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've definitely I am a subscriber to TelloFilms.
Thank you.
And I love it. I haven't watched through all of them yet, but I'm going through series by series.
Watch though, right? Like
that's
thing. And if you love Tommy Finch, you can go back and rewatch it a couple of months from now and kind of remember all the the little nuances and the fun from that. So, and we do have a lot of people who do that, who will go back in and rewatch episodes, which is really cool.
Yeah, someone told me they watched Kiss Where I'm Famous 3 times through. I think someone else told me they watched, maybe it might have been Nikki Nora, like 6 times through. Yeah. One of my friends is like huge fan of Nikki and Nora. So definitely people rewatch things again and again. Good.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And we just want to make more. That's all that we want to do is continue to make more so people in our community can enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Dinah.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Bye.